Hello again, friends, and welcome back to another sort of Talking Town production, if you like. I forgot what show I was doing. That's a great start, isn't it? It's Talking Town's big lockdown conversation. It's a Friday night. It's lockdown. Let's all get together to have a chat, talk football, talk life, talk everything in between. And I'm joined by a beautiful array of people. We've been chatting backstage. It has been, we're late because we've been talking too much. Having too much fun, drinking cider, drinking beer, talking about Football Manager, or was it rather MSM or MSN rather, Amy? Back in the day, those were the days, eh?
Oh, you remember when your parents walked in the room when you were on the family computer and you were trying to hide the messages from your mates or the boys?
Yep. And the screen would shake because someone would nudge you.
Good old days. Good old days.
Or, I don't know if you ever did this, but you'd always like change your status or come in and out of live. So you try and get the attention of somebody that you quite liked. You know, let's say you saw, I don't know, Sophie online. So it's like, I'm in and out of online status. I know this man here did this many times. I know this man here.
Were you getting a lot of nudges from boys on MSN back in the day, Martin?
Well,
we should really have had Neil on because his parents' computer really is. It is in the living room. And exactly what Amy was describing, there's some stories to be told there. That's for another podcast.
Another podcast. We're already branching out. We're only 2 minutes into tonight's show. Ben Moore's in the room. Good evening, Ben. Coxie wants the show. Coxie, we're here. Andrew, hello. Good evening. Simon, good evening. Curtis, let's go. Guys, Curtis has a flash sale on. With some fantastic prints. So go to his Twitter or Facebook. There is a post on the Facebook page this evening. One of the more interesting ones, I will say. And just head there. He's got some fantastic stuff. Sid, forgotten the show name, Too Much FM. Well, I wish, but Matt Phillips, I'll bring Matt in because he asked me this question as well. How many seasons have I completed? And I haven't even really played it at all. Ever played FM, Matt?
I've never played. Well, I mean, I say I've never played it. Back in the day when the ZX Spectrum was out, I used to play Football Manager, and the ball was like a little full stop, the most rudimentary graphics you've ever seen. But that was very addictive. But I've never played the one that everyone talks about. The one where people dress up in suits on Cup Final day and sit at their laptop playing that. You've done that, yeah?
If you wanted to search the YouTube page, there is a video of me in a suit for a Cup Final. I will say that I am there, and you have an internal monologue. So of the situation, I know how
you played to a high level. You've reached domestic cup finals. Is that what you're telling me?
I think it was a St Johnston's Paint Trophy, but
it'll be telling us he's played for big clubs and in Germany next, won't he?
I know one person who has managed big clubs and has completed many seasons. That is, of course, Mr. Luke Penning. Penning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever you happen to be watching this. Football Manager, how many seasons are you in?
I wouldn't say I'm not even a season in. I've just gone past January with Mansfield. To be fair, I was actually on the cusp of being sacked. I started really well. I think the fixture pile-up destroyed my squad. I ended up having about 6 players out injured for 4 weeks. Funnily enough, I got them all back, and I'm second in the league and 2 player of the month or manager of the months in. So it's going all right so far.
So it's almost like an injury crisis can hurt you, right? Paul Lambert.
Yeah, especially with like the way the new game is. Obviously, they take into account COVID, but obviously not the virus as it is. Just the way the games are, the way the fixture pile up is anyway. So there's been many times where you have to really manage the players you play and how many games you're playing for and how many minutes, because you can't really get away with doing that. And then people pick up recurring injuries. Like I brought in Danny Rowe, who we had, who used to play for us. He ended up getting like a 6-week pulled hamstring strain. He then got injured.
It's realistic.
He came back for 20 minutes and then was out like for another 3 weeks. So it's one of them things.
Sid Driver can confirm he has gone suited and booted for a playoff final. And Adam Flatt asks, did anyone have a MySpace page?
Yeah.
Amy's nodding.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did. I bet this man did. But would he put any of us in his top 10 friends is, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, the Cruncher. Cruncher, are you over your technical difficulties?
Yeah, I'm on my second iPad, mate. I don't know what's the but this is the old one. The old one's working. The new one, I don't. God knows. Did I have MySpace? I think I had MySpace. Was that before Facebook, wasn't it?
Yeah. You had
Yeah,
MySpace,
I
then
think so.
Bebo, then Facebook. Did anyone have Bebo?
No, I've heard
Bebo,
of it. No.
Yeah, Martin, you definitely have Bebo. That's probably how you met me.
Probably was. So Bebo obviously was a generational thing, but MySpace, yeah, I think I had like 5 friends on MySpace. I'm going to be honest. Top 10 places were never in doubt, never in danger. Did anyone else?
My MySpace was when I was at uni. I had a Facebook memory post up recently, where I'd been back on my MySpace, and there was all old pictures from my Freshers Week. So that must have been when, because Facebook was launched while I was at uni. That's how old I am.
How good was Tom though? The guy who obviously created it. He just put himself there on your friends list.
That guy.
Like, he was never never caught up. He's just there. Have a nice guy. Have a nice day. I mean, like, how unassumingly nice.
Never posted any drama.
Benjamin's put in the comments here. Look, Enciala's 2.5 stars. Is that overrated or underrated? Was it out of 5?
Yeah, it's out of 5. Yeah,
it's out of 3.
Well,
it's out of 5.
It's based
on your current team. Go on, Luke.
A little fun fact. Literally, like, obviously, I'm in the stable with Mansfield. I like to check like how teams are going on throughout the season. And Lambert in my save was actually sacked after 6 games.
Well, he'd have been sacked after 6 with me and Matt, wouldn't he?
And 6 games.
Yeah, 6 games.
Randomly enough, transfer listed Guion Edwards and loaned out Enciala to Rochdale. So
unrealistic.
Kind of says it all.
Can we get that manager in?
The manager ended up being like the assistant to Pep Clotet at Birmingham. I think his name's Paco Fierro or something like that. He ended up coming in as the manager, and Marcus Stewart came in as the assistant.
Did he? I'm preferring this virtual world. This sounds good.
No, it doesn't. No,
it sounds brilliant.
I tell you what,
they are 20th in League One. So.
It's not. Well, there you go. It's not on the list, but we'll start with. Yes, please. We'll start with. I was asked for another beer. How nice is this service?
You've got waiters.
Wonderful. I have. I didn't know I had.
You've got to pay for it, man. It's your round.
I know. So it's not on the list, but we'll start with this topic tonight because we've brought up Paul Lambert nice and early, and we'll start with Amy, and we'll have a turn to say what we feel. But obviously, Paul Lambert in the press this week or today, I think he even said the club is in a much better position now than when he took over. Is that right?
Yeah,
I feel like it shows a massive distance from the fans, because I think we all agree that the club is in a better place than when we had Paul Hurst there. But it doesn't cover everything that we're feeling at the moment, because yes, the club as a whole maybe is in a better place, but are we really? Because we're still in League One, and that is down to him at the end of the day. And like, he could maybe say that if we'd have come close last year, do you know what I mean? But
Sore Feet's a big fan of Lambo, isn't he?
Definitely.
I'm starting to work out why the club weren't helping. Lambert be right behind him. Lambert's a good guy. But what is better? If we clarify what we feel is better, and then ask yourself, as you clarify what is better, what is the manager's responsibility to make things better? Like the stand being painted or cleaned, is that the manager's responsibility, or is that more the owner or chief executive? So that's in a better position, but Lambert should really not be having anything to do with that.
Do you remember when Clegg came out with that? Oh, we painted the turnstiles. There's a whole flipping fanzine.
Clegg needed to.
Like,
turnstile was coming in and out for
that
players.
was.
It was a constant turnstile. Players coming in to sign, then suddenly turning around and coming straight back out again.
Exactly.
That's the issue, isn't it? Lambert always sees everything from like an internal manager's point of view. He doesn't see it from the fans' point of view. We're not in a better position at all, as Amy quite rightly said, because when he came in, was in the Championship. Now we're in League One, so we're not in a better position. But maybe behind the scenes, the things that people value day to day that we don't see because we're only there normally on match days. Maybe they're better. Maybe they've improved the training ground. Maybe he's brought the community trust back. I understand he was responsible for bringing that back. He wasn't there for a few years, so I understand he brought that back. But they're not kind of the things that we appreciate, because we only support the team and want to see them doing well.
But that shouldn't be down. That shouldn't be down to him, is it? When he came in, he said he watched that Middlesbrough game, didn't he? I always remember when he said he watched it and he said it was dead. I think, didn't he? But the community trust shouldn't be down to the manager. That's the club under Evans. It's been left to rack and ruin, isn't it? Really, you've only just got to look at. They've just started cleaning. They cleaned the Bobby Robson, didn't they? The stand last season, things like that.
Yeah.
When you've got something like a house, you look after it, don't you? It's your pride and joy. Whereas Evans, he just he left it to. I wouldn't say to go to rack and ruin because it didn't, but you should be looking after these things anyway. And
yeah. Well, you know a lot about this, Rich, because your house is beautifully vacuumed.
Love a bit of vacuuming. Don't mind that, but it's. I've got one of them. My missus bought me one of them flash mops, Matt, that you push your bottle in and then you press the button, it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Love it.
I got 2 of them.
Love it.
Rob's confused. Rob's not sure.
I think we've actually got a similar mop to that. But yeah, there you go. Other mops are available.
They are, Rob. But getting back to Lambert, it's results on the pitch, isn't it? Really, that's what we judge him on. And
he's given the club a kick out the arse really behind the scenes, doesn't he, to get things where they should have been. I think, like what you've just said there is, I mean, like you said, it should have already been the case. He's got that sort of on the right track, and will probably be better off when he eventually leaves because of what he's done behind the scenes, I think. But in reality, it's a football club, isn't it? It's not about it. The community trust and all these kind of things is great, it really is. But it's not about that, is it? I mean, the whole reason there's a football club there, the main reason it's there is to succeed and at least be at the level, it should be at. A club of that size should be at. If that's not going right, the other bits can be picked apart, in my opinion. If the first team's not playing well, everything else sort of falls down from there, doesn't it? All the other good work gets undone by what happens on the pitch of the first team.
But I see. Go on, Amy.
Thank you. Sorry, the community trust would be in a lot better position if we were in Championship. It is that simple. The club as a whole would be a lot better off if we were in the Championship. There is no arguing Lambert failed last season. There's you can give your reasons for it or whatever, but there's no arguing it. So I just think that I've only browsed over that interview. I should have read it in more detail, but there is no arguing against the fact that he failed that. I just feel like that interview, maybe it was the headline that the ADT picked out. But for me, it just feels like he's completely out of touch with fans because they're not. Yes, we get what they've done since Hurst completely destroyed the club, but it isn't enough. We're in League One and we shouldn't be in League One. I don't agree. I don't agree with you there, Amy, saying Hurst destroyed the club. He was there for 14 games, and I'll say it again. We'd be in no worse position now if he was manager than Paul Lambert. We wouldn't be, because ultimately. It was interesting. I was reading through the comments on Twitter. Joe Fair's come up with a really good point, Martin. He said we're probably a year behind where we should be. Now, I agree with that because... Rich, where's David McGoldrick playing now?
He was going anyway. He was going anyway without contract.
I don't think he was on the squad sheet, was he?
He said
he was out of contract anyway.
He went because Hurst said he wasn't bothered. Where's Waggy? We haven't had a goal scorer in years. We finally had Marty Waghorn.
Me and Martin, he's a rat, Amy. He's a rat because if you read his comments,
you don't get rid of your strikers.
If you just rewind a little bit, if you read his comments, I think it was it last season, Martin? He put that interview out, Waghorn. Basically, his agent told him, "You have one decent season at Ipswich, and I will get you moved to a bigger club." So he had a decent season at ours, and he went to.
He's right, though, isn't he? He's right.
Yeah. His head was turned, wasn't it, to work with Lampard. His head was turned to work with Lampard.
You had to understand the position of the football club, though, right? Well, we are the reset button in the football world, both the managers and players. We are the chance to turn it around and go back up the ladder for everybody. Because look at that comment. It wasn't a case of do well here. I'll get you more money at the same club. It was we'll go to a bigger club because everyone knows Ipswich Town have aspirations of doing precisely what.
So that's not down. That's not down. We could have Pep Guardiola as manager. It doesn't matter who we have as manager. The buck stops with the owner then.
Well, it does. Same with the community trust. Why did we ever have a community trust or not have a community trust in the first place? Like, why was a championship club without a community trust with an owner that's richer than the Queen? Why was that allowed to have happened?
Because that's the thing. Like, you think of it that way. Like, Evans only started doing stuff since Lambert was here because he got involved with the club, was at the training ground more, that sort of thing. Prior to Lambert being here, he would just be away, you know. That with the things we're talking about, the things behind the scenes, like the community trust, which has gone in, is really good things to be happening, but it shouldn't be the work of the manager. The manager is employed to motivate the team, get the team playing well. People like Leo Neal behind the scenes, director of football, whatever role he is in, general football operations, that should be his role. Like him and Evans, that should be their main thing. You shouldn't be leaving that to the manager. Obviously, you know, that's the thing I've noticed actually with Lambert. Whenever he gets criticised, he always says the same sentence like, "Oh, the club's in a good place." But it's such a broad term. Like the club could be in a good place off the pitch, but is it in a good place on the pitch? Obviously not.
But then,
Followed by I did well in Germany.
But then, does any builder on the job ever say, hold up, this is too big, or this has gone wrong, or this is terrible? Like, every person on their own job always thinks it's brilliant, it's rosy, it's fantastic, until you actually like remove them and it's glaringly obvious. I mean, even Mick would have probably said things were fantastic in the garden, and you know, they weren't for a number of years, were they?
Question: Would Mick McCarthy have let Marty Waghorn, David McGoldrick, and Joey Garner go? Of course he could.
I think slightly differently with that is that you've got to add also that Selena's goals went out of the team as well. I think you've got those three players left at the same time. That's poor management from the club. Maybe they were all going to leave in time. Maybe the money came especially for Waghorn. Maybe McGoldrick was always going. But letting all three of them go, particularly Garner, like 11 p.m. on transfer deadline day. But letting all three of them go at the same time without really bringing not even one proven replacement. You know what I mean?
Because players
really,
can smell a ship sinking.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they left Hurst out to dry. If he was going to fail, which he did, they set him up for a fall by letting those players go. And I think someone upstairs, someone upstairs, a proper owner, would never have let those three players plus Selena go back to his club. All four of the goals scored from the previous season went in the same summer.
Yeah, but you go back, Rob. Gareth McCauley went for free. David Norris went for free. Damien Delaney went for free. They're all Luke Chambers. He nearly went because the club didn't sort his contract out. Now, who is that down to?
Nominal fee, yeah.
Who's it down to?
Great.
Yep.
Well, this is it. Is it down to the various chief executives, or have they all been sort of middlemen that it's above their heads, and you're trying to rely on an owner who's managing several different companies, isn't probably in a different time zone half the time.
There is no middleman. That's the point. That's probably the problem. There is no middleman.
It was Ian Milne, wasn't it? Who was kind of like a bit of a laughable figure because he was kind of
the best chief exec we had, Matt.
The
best chief executive we had was a guy.
Bowden.
He run Essex cricket.
Yeah,
Derek Bowden, and look what he'd done at Essex. You know, he'd done a lot of good work at Ipswich. He is available.
Yeah,
but I think he was rated as one of the best because of the things Amy's trying to say. If you take one piece out, so you take Waghorn out, you have to replace it. And I read an article once, it might be on the Athletic, it might not have been. Don't quote me, where it said one transfer window can knock you back several seasons, and we're still there because Waghorn and Jackson in the same sentence. No. Is Garner and Jackson in the same sentence? Harrison, no, because they're just not the same players, and we didn't replace like for like for whatever reason. We just didn't replace, and we didn't
replace full stop. We've got no strike. Like, okay, it is looking better now, but for how long?
And that's Selena.
We just didn't have any strikers.
Yeah, and that's Selena's situation. Rob mentioned that's the club. That's the club's management, because that left wing was like a revolving door. You had Lawrence, Fraser, Selena. How many loan fees?
Still is.
How many loan
fees?
But how many
Keenan
loan
Bennett's
fees?
Is another one.
How many loan fees did that cost for those three players when you could have bought one player and maybe developed him and sold him for a higher fee? Like Luke will probably, Luke will know it better than probably all of us. Short term, long term visions. It's just not the club, is it?
No, I always get the feeling like that we're a reactionary club. Like we wait for something to happen, then we do it. We don't do it beforehand. Like I feel like, even that season that you're talking about when we got rid of Garner, Waghorn and McGoldrick and those, even if you'd kept one of them around saying, oh, you stay until the end of the season, then you can go. You could have got some people in alongside him rather than letting them all go. You know, you had the whole thing happen when I think we sold Harrison ended up selling for £0. I don't think we sent him on a free or something.
Sold him to pay him off, didn't we?
Yeah.
Installment plan. Like a washing machine. Bless him.
Sold my house to pay my house off.
But McGoldrick, Amy, was always going to go because Martin had it in his bonnet about they let him travel, didn't they? Up and down. He had injuries and injuries. So
Kettering, wasn't it? I think it was
now he's living. Obviously, he lives in Nottingham, not far to travel to Sheffield, and he needed that move to revitalise his career.
I genuinely feel like Sheffield United was his calling. That was his destiny. That was where he should be, because that day when they got promoted, did they get promoted when we were at Bramall Lane?
Beat us 2-0.
Misremembering that?
Yeah.
I remember him being there and him coming over and applauding us fans. That's when I was heavily pregnant, I think, if I remember right. But I feel like that was the right. Of course, that was the right move for him. But my issue is the fact that Marty Waghorn and Joey Garner went as well. And Joey Garner, fuck me, if we'd have had him.
He wanted to go. He wanted to go back north. He wanted to go home. He wanted to go home anyway. Garner wanted to leave. He wanted to go back up north.
Okay, I appreciate
the problem is that we're the only club that sell players when they want to leave.
If we are in a position where our owner is only thinking about the business, then you cannot let your only half decent striker go, no matter how much he's missing home. I get it. You know, I'm how many hundreds of miles away from you guys right now. I get the missing from home. I totally understand that, and I will always be the advocate for first mental health comes first. But you cannot leave us without anybody, and that was down to Hurst.
Yeah. So
I don't think there's an argument against that.
No, that team would have stayed up with a goal scorer. They play some decent football in the Championship, that team. No goal scorer.
And goal scorers.
Agreed.
You see Callie's comment there about, do you remember the Leicester move from McGoldrick?
Oh,
do I? 7 mil was on the table.
I was at Derby that day.
Yeah, for a Derby, wouldn't we mind? He'd have won the Premier League, McGoldrick, wouldn't he?
He would have done.
Vardy was nowhere near the team then. We could have got him in instead.
The irony. So, as Ben rightfully says, we could chat forever about this, but we can't.
Still Connor Salmon up there.
So, let's look at the first quarter of this season now, right? I want you all to rate the season individually. We'll start with Matt and go to Luke, then Cruncher, then Rob, then Amy, then myself. I want you to rate it between A to F, and then say why you're giving it that rating. The first 11 games, including Cup if you want to. I won't be, but there's reasons why I won't.
I'd give it, we're second in the table. I'm going to give it a C. We started off well with an A against Bristol Rovers, but I just feel like, and the Blackpool game, fantastic. But we're just scraping over the line again. And I said on the Sunday show, haven't I? History repeats. We're now just scraping over the line as we did last season. And I think that just papers over a lot of problems because you're suddenly in like a false position. We're now in the top 2 and everyone's happy with that, rightly so. But, you know, is the trapdoor going to open again? Are we just going to slide down a couple of bad results? We've seen it back to back, haven't we? Doncaster, Lincoln. So it can only be a C for me. It can only be a C.
Mike Brown says D. Reese Curtis says C. Facebook user says C. Luke, what says you?
I'd probably say around a C or a D as well, to be honest, because you think of it, you know, we start this season well. There's, you know, fast passing movement, the kind of what we wanted to see. And then we tend to fall back into our habits from last season. You know, the last couple of games, there's been this whole thing about us, you know, the position between the back four and the goalkeeper and the whole slow passing thing. If we started how we did and were playing convincingly as we did against the lowest sides, you know, obviously we take into account the Sunderland game and the bad officiating in that game, but still we didn't really do enough to win the game. You know, you think of the next couple of games we've got Shrewsbury, Charlton, Hull, those kind of teams. You know, you think of it that way. You really need to win, but.
A C. All right, Crunch, yourself. We've got Will Frost with a C, good but not spectacular. Benjamin's a bit early, but it is a quarter of the season, Ben, so that's what we're reviewing at this point. It's a C plus from Ben. Benjamin Michael, welcome in, Benjamin. Bloody C plus, he says. Coxie says C plus. Sid Driver C, but if you scrape over the line all season, that still gets you up there. And Callie can't make his mind up, D plus or a C. It's like being at school when you're doing well in the lowest sets and and terrible in the top sets. We can't play against other A, B, or C rated teams. Andrew Arbin, welcome in. Andrew says C. We've been here for a while. Sorry, Andrew. At Crunch, what do you say?
B minus. I'm not. Look, we can't. It wouldn't be a B minus if I included the cups, but we're not including that. Yeah.
Can if you want.
No, I don't think so. We do have to. We are second in the league after all, and I know it's not. It isn't convincing, but we're still second in the league. I know there's some games tomorrow that probably might affect our position, but it's going to be. I think by the 2nd of January, we've got 11 games from next Saturday. Until then, we play obviously Charlton Hull. We got Portsmouth. We got Peterborough. By that time, we will know, I think, where we're going to finish roughly. I know Matt says he'll go before Christmas. Personally, I don't think he will. I think if he's going to go, he'll get this season, unless he makes a right pig's ear of the next 11 games. Come January, we're 7th or 8th. I think he's going to have this season. And then the owner, he's got a decision to make then. If we've gone up, obviously he'll stay. If not, we're going to have a massive turnover of players because I think there's 16 players who either got an option of another 12 months or they could leave. So I think if he goes, that's going to be the time when he goes.
Well, do you guys know the podcast NTT20? They've described Town as nowhere near as good as their league position suggests. Lambert gone within 6 months, was what they said this week.
He's muted himself.
That's rubbish. Pure rubbish. Rubbish. How can you not be as good as your league position suggests? Anyway, I'll get to my bit in a minute. Don't worry. Rob?
I'm gonna go a bit more damning. I'm gonna go with D. The problem for me is that I believe we've done well. We're second in the league. There's plenty of pluses. We've got some good players. You know, McGuinness is a player that's come from really nowhere. Looks like he's going to be good for us. But I want to see that we've learned lessons from last season. I don't see any of it. I don't see that there's nothing this season that suggests we can't do exactly the same as we did last season. We're in this position.
Oh, joy.
We were beating the Bristol Rovers, the Rochdales, the Crews, the Gillinghams, and so on. Have we beaten a top team yet? Did we beat a top team last season?
Well, you beat Stanley when they're in the top 6. Like what?
You're making my point for me.
You beat what's put in front of you, do you not?
Yes, of course you do. But then when the better teams are put in front of you, what happened last
You
season?
don't beat them.
The point is that as Rich is right. I mean, by the time it comes to that January, we'll have played a lot of the top teams and we'll really see where we are. I think also to follow up his point about the manager's job, you only get sacked at Ipswich if you're bottom of the league and they need a bounce, i.e. Hurst. Obviously that didn't work, but they tried. That's the reason they fired him.
And Jewel.
To get a bounce, and Jewel likewise. Obviously worked with that one. Or you get a mutual consent at the end of the season, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Like a Joe Royal and so on. So that's the only two reasons the manager's out of the job at Ipswich. He won't get fired during the season, even if some of us would like him to be. Failure this season will not see him out of a job until the summer, I don't think.
He's got no excuses now, though. He's got no excuses because he didn't want to be in the Cups. He's
engineered it.
Didn't want to be in the Cups.
He's engineered it.
Yeah, he's got no interest in the Cup. So now, total focus on the league, and he can't come out with any more excuses.
He's literally only got himself to blame if it goes wrong. I mean, you can argue there's no investment and stuff, but we all know it comes on the manager first, and it will come on the manager again.
Yeah. A few comments. David Pascoe believes when it's good, it's better than last year, but we're still waiting for a statement result.
Exactly.
Callie, Dye will be manager next year. Sid Driver. Evans won't pay him up. Will Frost. He's a prickly character, as Paul Lambert. I can see him having a falling out with Evans. Mike Brown, false position. That's why. Benjamin Michael. D is probably more correct. It's like doing well in your mocks and then buggering up the actual exam this part of the season. It gives a false sense of security. Everyone here knows exactly what will happen this season. Top 10, maybe.
Going back to Sid's comment there about the contract and he wouldn't pay him up. It doesn't matter, does it, Matt? Because, like you said, Alan Pardew had an 8-year contract at Newcastle.
He's still got it.
It doesn't matter if he had a 5-year contract, a 10-year contract. It doesn't matter.
He got paid up on June the 30th this year and he got sacked in 2014.
Martin, didn't David Moyes' deal at Man United expire the other month?
Don't care. If it kicks it to end this season. Amy?
You're a fool.
In the shock result, I'm with Rich on this. I would say B minus. And I don't think you can argue with the position in the league, and I don't think you can argue with. Okay, I'll be honest. I have other things going on in my life, so I haven't watched all the games. But when I've watched it, it's been first half absolutely dire, and then they've turned themselves around. But that isn't the reason I give that is because I'm in a family of teachers, and I know that at this point in the term, you wouldn't give them a D because why are they going to fucking bother for the rest of the season? So I'm going to give them a B minus because. Actually, if they keep going at the best they can be, we can be fine.
Yep.
But they won't be the best they can be for the rest of the season. I know that, but we are capable of doing it. It is up to the bloody manager to make sure we do, and he won't.
It is League One at the end of the day. Let's not be too kind to him. We're in League One. We're not playing top opposition week in, week out. Here,
we're not. Well, good.
So
we're not a top
the
side.
Other thing, I think last time I came on the match day ticket show that I think we underestimated the opposition. Martin, you're gonna have to remind me which team it was. I want to say Rochdale, but I don't think. I think that was
Crewe.
Yes, it was. It was Crewe. You're absolutely right, and I think we really underestimated because they were really good going forward. They were really good, and it's like Wickham last year. Now, to be fair, they absolutely jammed it through at the home game, but I was at the away game, and they were a decent side. And the amount of people I've spoken to, including close friends of mine, who were like, "Oh, it's Wickham. Who are they? Like, why are we losing to them?" It's like, well, no, they're playing decent football. We've got to stop thinking of ourselves as having this divine right to get through League One without any challenges, because we are always going to have clubs who are playing good football. There's been clubs come down who are daunting. There's been clubs like, look at Donny and how much they battered us. There's clubs like that in this league who deserve to have a chance to go up. And then there's the clubs from flipping League One, like Wickham last year, who are they're gonna come out and perform well and be unexpected. We are, like we were in the Championship, we are the sort of like, you're the veterans, you've been here for ages. We've got to start battling our way out of it now. And I don't think we've got it in us.
Who put the message up, Martin, on screen on Tuesday about when we came down, we had a bit of a fear factor, but now nobody fears playing us?
Somebody did.
Great comment. Nobody fears us. No one fears us at all.
They've all seen us collapse last season, haven't they?
Yeah.
Luke?
It was when we played Crewe, and I think one of the Crewe reporters said to, I think, the manager, like, how do you feel like going up against Ipswich? And he was like, well, they're not Barcelona, they're Man City, they're Ipswich. He said it in that kind of, kind of way.
Yeah.
Do you know what my rating would be if we'd managed to not get beat by Sunderland? A minus.
Oh,
But
Martin.
we did. No.
What about Lincoln?
No. I said it would be. I didn't say it was. My rating, in fact, is probably a B plus.
What's that saying? If my gran
had bikes, should be had wheels, should be a bike. Right. Let's take it all into effect. So the window came and closed. We kept Downs, we kept Wolfenden, we kept the bigger players. He did that.
True.
Right? He's done that.
True.
But hang on, rewind. I think it's a pandemic saved a lot of them. If you look at Norwich,
what about the wheels and the bike?
If you look at a lot of them teams in the Championship, Norwich, Watford, Bournemouth, because of the pandemic, there's not so much money floating around. So they've been able to keep their good players. That's why them two stayed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we've had an injury list as long as your arm. Like, has he had Norwood available? No. Has he had Jackson available? No. Has he had Vincent Young available? No. He had a couple of weeks about Stephen Ward available. So you've had all of these mitigating factors that you haven't ever put out what I would class as Ipswich Town's strongest 11 this year.
Yeah.
Yes, we got absolutely royally thumped by Doncaster. That can't be ignored. But you've played Gillingham, who many people said at the start of the year made moves in the window, going to be a really good team this year. Better watch Gillingham. We beat them 1-0.
No one's ever said that ever.
Yes, they did. They signed 11 players.
I said that.
No one's ever said that about Steve Evans.
They were my dark horses on the when we had the preview show with Phil. I said Gillingham, and I think
did you think Steve Evans had been sacked then? Or?
I'm not having that. Gillingham.
Crew Alexandra, Dan McAnthony's dark horse would beat them.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a mug, is old Dara. He knows his football.
Yeah, but he also knows that Peterborough. He
yeah.
knows that Peterborough would double Crew. So
But
Yeah.
look, I ain't saying it's perfect, but when you're sitting second in the league, I've not yet seen my strongest 11 play. I'm not sure really where else you can go, but that's a good start. Like, regardless if it's false or not.
It is a good start.
Because you could say that's false. You're right, because we haven't had our best.
It's an
11 out.
easy start.
We could be
Rich called
top.
it on the show. He said this is an easy start.
There's no easy games in football. There's
Yeah.
No,
Really?
there isn't.
Come on.
No, there isn't. That's the whole beauty of the championship is that anyone could beat anyone, and the league and League One is exactly the same. That's what I was just trying to say. We need to stop thinking that we have this divine right to beat the lower teams, because we are one of the lower teams. We're in League One.
Yeah.
You've
yeah,
got
no,
to. You've
yeah.
got to beat what's in front of you. Like Martin said, I'm being told to shush because I might wake the baby. So.
It's too emotive.
It's like, if you replicated what you've got over the course of the season in points every quarter, you're looking at a really
you can't,
good
because
finish.
you've got, there is the top 7 or 8 teams, of which we are probably one. Sorry, Amy, but we probably are. We've got to beat a few of them. We're going to get into the playoffs.
That's an eye roll. There's an eye roll there.
What are we going to do? Lose to all of them in the playoffs and get through, are we?
Tell you what, you could
I
get
just
beat
don't
away
see
in
it.
the playoffs 1-0.
Oh, hang on.
Hang on.
You want to go with your stat where if you won 23 home games, you'd only have to get 7 points in the away games to get in the playoffs?
Well, you would. If
but
you
that never
won,
happens. The Howard
if
Wilkinson
you-
effect, is that what you call
the
it?
Howard Wilkinson effect. If you won all your home games and only won a couple away games, Bob's your uncle. You're home and dry.
But
right?
we do know
Do you know
that,
what
right?
I
Go
think?
on, Amy.
Even if we finish third in the league, has anybody got any confidence at all that we actually would win the playoffs?
That's what I mean. It's just in that.
Due to the playing
If we're going to go up, we need to do it automatically, I think. I don't fancy us over 3 games.
We have had a problem since Mick McCarthy. We have no confidence in that team. And weirdly, it has started building since lockdown. That is a conversation for another podcast. But we don't have the confidence. We just don't, because of all of what we've been through for the last however many years. Our team does not have the confidence. The fans do. The fans think we should be doing better, but the players do not. And if we end up in the playoffs, I have absolutely no faith whatsoever that we would manage to.
That's up to the manager to get them motivated for big games.
We don't have big time players. We don't have big time players. They cost money.
Isn't that more of a mentality thing, though? You think of that,
Yes.
like, there's so many years we've had this ingrained, like this loser mentality ingrained in us. Like every time,
agreed.
The whole like FA Cup, losing cup finals, losing cup games. If you win, like the other night when we played, when we played Crawley, when we played Portsmouth, you could probably say we tried to get back into that one. But even playing like a very weakened side, you to mix it up. Like even if you were to win like a Papa John's Trophy game, that builds a winning mentality that you can take into the next game and so on and so forth. Like we don't have that. If you were constantly winning in the league games, you're winning some cup games, you'd get into a point where you might feel a bit more confident about when you get to those cup finals.
That comment from Adam Flatt.
You are. Sorry, I missed that.
Adam Flatt is bang on.
Rob,
He is bang on. He's bang on. When did we last win
Yeah,
a big
agreed.
game?
Because that's a mentality, though, isn't it? Right? Like, I'm sorry, I'm just cutting across you. Matt Phillips is a boxer, right? He likes his boxing. In boxing, it's about me versus you. Look at Gary and Phil Neville in that tunnel crunch.
He
Me
didn't want to
versus
fight
you.
Markeith, though, did he? He might be a
No, he
boxer, but he
did.
didn't
No,
want
he
to
did
fight
not.
Markeith.
No, he did not.
Too much weight. Too much weight difference.
Look at the playoff final, right? I got every faith that those players stepped on that pitch at Wembley and said, "It's me versus you today, and I'm winning. No ifs, no buts. Big game, big players. Look at our team today. Where's the big characters driven by the will to be the best? Maybe Flynn and Luke. Maybe I don't know them personally.
There's one captain at that club, let alone in the team at the club.
Yeah, and he falls short on quality. But he falls short.
Do you remember when I first graduated after I'd done my masters? I worked for Town 102, and at the time we had Gareth Macaulay as captain and Richard Naylor as club captain, because we had that many people, and that was in the flipping Roy Keane team. But in fact, it was Magilton when I was there, and it was shortly after it was Roy Keane. We had, like you say, we had so many captains within the team. They had to have two, because they had to have Naylor as a club captain.
Bam, bam.
Grant Ledbetter coming in squad or that, didn't it? It's been downhill ever since.
Do you know Bam Bam as a player? I never rated, but now I'd love a Bam Bam in my
I
team.
love him.
Yeah.
Just give me a Bam Bam.
It's because he changed positions.
Yeah.
Do you think our standard of calamity centre half has dropped a bit since then?
I would say,
Well,
I think-
exactly. How much did we blame him back then? But actually, he was amazing. He was really good.
I sat in front of an old guy, God bless his soul, and he used to start. The only thing you'd ever hear him say about a game was, "Play up, Richard Naylor," and I was thinking to myself, "Play up, Naylor. Just start playing, Naylor." Now I'd want him. I'm like, bring him back. I miss that guy.
Do you remember them two
Coming
chances he
out
missed
of
against
defence.
Arsenal? Do you remember that game in the Premier League? Oh,
Yeah.
he had two
Yeah.
absolute sitters
The one-
he missed, didn't he?
the 1-1
That's why he's in
Yeah,
defence.
1-1. Oh,
Yeah,
when Titus passed to Henri after about 2 minutes.
those were the days.
That game, wasn't it? I would say the biggest win we've had in recent years probably we beat Leeds that last day of the season.
no,
That
it
was
didn't
a win.
count.
That didn't count.
Oh, that
pretty-
was such a
Watford.
good day.
Watford
That was
away.
So good.
Watford away under Mick when
The
Chapo
draw in the
scored.
FA Cup at
Yeah.
Southampton, the Darren Ambrose header, that was a good result, I thought.
I thought of one. I've forgotten it now.
That was a
Just
good
scraping the
result.
barrel though for draw at Southampton's going down as a big result.
We played
I think they got position wrong.
I do
Yeah.
think
True, but
the playoffs against Norwich, I know we ultimately got knocked out, but the goal, Anderson's goal and Tommy Smith's goal, that was like, we were never going to beat Norwich that day.
Well, we don't
But just-
I think, Amy,
I
I
was in
think
the second row at Carrow Road,
I
and
think
Tommy
if-
Smith came and celebrated right in front of me. I will never ever, even though we got knocked out of the playoffs and we were never ever going to go up that day, that is ingrained in my head the rest of my life. Like that
I
was
think
an
that-
amazing day.
I think that game at Norwich, I think Berra getting sent off was the key because up until then,
Yeah.
they were shitting themselves.
Yeah.
They were.
if you remember, the home crowd were on the point of
They
turning.
were
as
worrying.
do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Such small margins.
Do you remember
isn't it?
their
It
pitch
is.
invasion afterwards, where it was
Tin
like
pot.
police completely crowded round us? And there
Tin
was like
pot,
10
yeah.
kids on the
Before everyone
because
went
they
back
were
to their
relieved.
hotel in the corner.
They were so relieved that they got
Get that
past
wheel out,
us.
Martin. Get the wheel out anyway. We've done 42 minutes, so you ain't had the wheel out.
The Wheel of Fortune.
He's
He's
muted
muted.
himself again. Look.
You're muted.
We can't hear you.
Sorry, it's because
Is this your first time on these things, Martin? Come on.
Yeah.
No, it's because I'm typing. I'm typing. You see, and I don't want you to have to typing on your end. So, because somebody's asking, why am I a Facebook user? Because you've not yet given permission. So I was just letting them know you've not yet given permission.
A trialist
And it,
scores again.
Hey,
I tell
Mike,
you-
is Mike
it
on the
wasn't a-
lake tonight? Is Mike doing? Is he fishing?
I've given the invite.
Did
to
he
him.
catch
On the bank.
anything, Mike? Did you catch anything the other night?
It's not. It was. I tell you what. Answer me this. It's not a big game, but the only game I've seen us recently really roll our socks up and make it an us versus them. We're not coming out away from here
I
with
just thought of
nothing.
one.
Was MK Dons this year. They really dug in that day, and through several reasons, you could get into why and the ifs and the buts. We were 10 men, and they really said, as a collective 10, we're not leaving here with anything but at least 1 point because they dug in.
We are scraping the barrel if MK
Yeah,
Dons away, in which they
I was
give.
just
No,
thinking
you've
that.
got. No, I'm
Come on,
not
I'm
saying.
not having-
No,
not having
I'm
that,
not saying
not
the
having that.
team. You're misunderstanding the
Last
team.
time we
I know
won a
it's
big
not
game, Martin.
Leeds,
Last time we won a big game, MK Dons didn't exist, mate.
but define a big game for Ipswich Town because that for Ipswich Town is a big game. You didn't get beat. Like define big games. I can sit here and say, "Oh, Inter Milan at home, what a big game! Won that one." It means fuck all. Quite frankly, it means nothing in the grand scheme
I
of things.
think the last time we won a big game was when we beat Newcastle 3-0 on the Sir Bobby Robson commemoration game.
Mm, mm.
that
That's
goal
the
from Hughes.
last one that I can think of that really.
But was that a big game, Amy? Because we were mid-table and going nowhere. That was a free hit for us. I wouldn't say it was a big game.
It was for us, and I think the team understood that.
That's the last
they
time
understood
Emma
the
Hughes had a decent
significance of
game.
it.
That's the only time ever Hughes
Last
had a
time
decent game.
It's on a
I would
3-year
say-
deal off that.
Arsenal, it's got to be Arsenal League Cup then. It's got to be Arsenal in that first leg.
There's a few in there. I mean, we
Oh
rolled-
my god, that's like a decade ago. That's when I
You
was still living in
can't,
Barnsley.
you
That's
can't have
ridiculous.
single legs as big games, like
Why
because
not?
because you've the second leg up. Could you if you messed the
No.
whole tie up, that's like saying we had a great first half but a really bad second half.
Oh,
Means
Fabregas was
nothing.
crying, wasn't he?
The
They're a
whole-
rugby
the whole-
team.
The whole reason we're discussing it like this is because we haven't beaten our rivals for 10 plus years. At the end of the
There
day,
you
one of
go.
one of the biggest ones is the fact that we rolled over West Ham 5-1. That was probably one of my personal favourites. Really, we really did a job on them that day with a pretty average team as well.
Yeah.
I agree with Mike.
Actually, I just had a Facebook memory beating Rotherham 5-2.
That's not a big game, Amy. That's not a big game,
It
Amy.
was for me.
Jonathan Douglas scored that day, so
That was a great result. Yeah.
What a huge
He
game.
did. He did. Daryl Murphy hat trick and Jonathan Douglas. And I can't remember who the other one was.
Pittman.
Great game.
Pittman
Great
scored.
game. Great day that was.
Douglas and Pittman scoring in the same game. Jeez.
It's a big game for those of us that live up north, Martin. That was amazing.
Every game's a big game in Ipswich Town, mate. Mike Davey, Brentford 4-2. That was a great day. How many goals did you see that day, Rob?
Of ours, I think somewhere between 2 and 3.
Were you in one of the pubs on the corner?
No, we got there on time.
We had been.
We got there on time.
I was in the urinal in the corner instead.
He got there. We sat down. Referee blew his whistle. He went, "Oh, I go to the loo." He got up. No longer he disappeared, and we scored.
I thought we were behind.
He did. Tommy Smith, worldie.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
when we were
That defender's
team
never
to
been
beat.
beaten.
Oh, I miss Tommy
What a table.
Smith.
What a time. Should we bring the wheel in? Should we bring the wheel in very quick as we close? So it's
We've
been
got Curtis to
really,
thank for this.
it's been a really good evening. I've really enjoyed it. We have to do it again because it's been really worthwhile from my point of view. I was feeling terrible before we started. So on the wheel is several things. We'll spin it. We'll go Amy first. I think Amy then has to depart. But I don't know. That's not me trying to push her out. I just know that she's got things to do.
She's got to play football
The
manager
woman, we
HQ,
need to
mate.
get rid of the woman very quickly.
Don't start that off on Twitter, will you?
Right.
Don't start that off. Right.
Curtis has approved the use of the will. We've been endorsed.
Yeah.
Top man Curtis.
Yeah, I messaged him and he just said, Google it.
Bring on the wheel.
Yeah.
Have you got the will to use it? That's the question.
Oh my days. Cruncher even sent me a
Wheel of Fortune, the music.
I'm not going to use it just because it's copyrighted. But
I think
here we go.
Martin's more of a blind date fan, isn't he? Come on.
Here we go. So I'll bring it up on the screen. We'll hit the go, and then whatever it is, we'll roll with it. I don't know. Let's do it. Right. So here it comes. How exciting is this? What makes you happy?
Oh, hang on, no.
No, it's changed. Oh, there you go.
Oh my God.
What gives you hope as a town fan looking into the future? What a question.
Jesus.
Evan's leaving, sore feet.
Bottoms up for that, guys. Bottoms up for that.
What gives me hope for Ipswich in the future?
Oh,
But
God, it's got me first.
there's lots of good managers available to take over
You
at
can't have
Christmas.
that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, he's not available to free.
The Nigel, Pearson, Adkins, Falkirk. There's lots of good names out there to take it up.
No more Pauls.
No more calls.
My thing at the moment is the hope of being back there. As an away fan, I know that once you guys, as season ticket holders, get to go in, I've probably still got to wait a long time. Yeah,
Go on, Mike.
past that. So the one thing that keeps me going, I mean, genuinely missing football has been the worst part of lockdown for me. I mean, I've had 2 kids at home 24/7 for 6 months, and the worst thing's been missing football. So the thing that keeps me going is thinking about my buddies, and genuinely, I think the next time I might see some of my friends is at my wedding next summer, because I don't think we're going to get to go next year.
You'll lose there as well.
This season. So, well, very true. But that's my hope, is that but when I picture like my wedding next year, I hope that we will be celebrating us being in the championship. But I have no honestly, the only thing that keeps me still supporting this club is seeing my mates again sometime soon.
Shout out Christopher Martin. He's given us permission to use his name. Well done, Chris. The Academy. Sid Driver, the final whistle. Mini Cruncher, Youth, Phil Frost, The youth.
Mini Cruncher's watching. Hang on, it's a Friday night. Is he still out?
Is he in the house?
9 o'clock. He'll be playing FIFA. He's got the new FIFA. Happy birthday, Archie, anyway, for
Oh.
Yeah, happy birthday,
Wednesday.
Archie. Yeah.
Happy birthday,
birthday.
Archie.
Right, Robbie. Let's have a spin on my wheel and see what you got. Are
Need
you
more of
ready?
this wheel action going forward, mine. It's good.
It is good. Oh, it's one of
Can we do something about the green and yellow together in there?
How long? Oh, we've already discussed that. Spin again. Spin
Spin
again.
again. Spin
Spin
again.
again.
Spin again.
That's a rhetorical question anyway. You can't.
Luke, can you get me a red one?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I'll have one as well if you can.
Oh,
I'm
get
finishing now.
in.
Jack Grealish,
Oh.
England team or no England team?
Is this for me?
Martin, on that note, I'm going to go because I didn't even watch the game. But thank you, gents, for having me. And I
Yeah,
also, Martin, this
See
is
you later.
everyday sexism. Martin didn't plan in toilet breaks. When you've had children, you need toilet breaks. So
I've had
Nice
children.
to see
I don't need them.
you.
I don't need them.
you didn't actually give birth to them, did you?
Oh, now
Love
he's
you
being
lot.
sexist. Right, see you later. Right.
She's gone.
Love
We'll
it.
see her on the
Right.
match day ticket. Jack Grealish, he's got very impressive calf muscles. I'll give him that. Very good.
Great
Yeah,
legs,
that's
isn't
because
he?
he doesn't pull his socks up enough. He looks ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a good.
His
He is a good
socks
player.
are lower
I
than
think
Mark McGuinness's.
he is a good player. I feel. I think he's decent. But I mean, he didn't
I
have
think-
much opposition against Ireland last night. They were poor, weren't they, Ireland?
The thing is that with England recently, like, you know, we've got all these. It's a bit like Ipswich in some ways, isn't it? You keep hearing we've got all these creative players, and then we play Denmark and we play Iceland. We didn't create any chances. Well, we've got all these creative players. Where are they? Then? What are they doing? Having a sabbatical? I mean, they're supposed to be creating chances. aren't they?
Furloughed.
Well, that's what a creative player does. A creative player doesn't block crosses, does he?
No, no, exactly.
At the end of the
Playmaker.
day, I'm all for anyone that creates chances being in that team because we're a team that's always going to be under pressure to beat everyone. Even in the big games against the Brazils, the Belgians, we're under pressure to score and at least compete. You don't do that unless you create chances. So anyone that creates chances, I would put in the team, and that's what Grealish does at the moment. I'm actually not his biggest fan, to be honest, but at the moment he's on fire. You can't argue it.
Do you think he's going to leave Villa? He's got to leave Villa. Surely.
I think they will stay up, and I think probably he will leave them on those terms.
Where does he go? United?
He could play for. He could play for. I think Arsenal need a player like him, Matt. I think he's good enough to play for any team in the top 6.
Tottenham, Arsenal, I think, yeah, I would say.
The
The thing is it's one of those. If he went to someone, I don't know, someone on the fringes of it, like a Leicester or an Everton, he's the kind of player that could bring them above some of those teams in the top 6. You know, they're already, or Leicester particularly, already competing, aren't they? So they're doing
Villa
Southampton. Look at
Villa are a
Southampton.
bit, but Villa are a bigger club than Leicester.
That's
They are a bit.
that's
They are a bit.
debate,
I know.
In terms of, yeah. Well, Villa have never won the Premier League, though, have they?
True. Look, Grealish should. Getting back to Grealish, he should walk into the England team, but it worries me because you think the last set of internationals when they play Wales, he got man of the match. The next 2 games didn't get a minute, so played well last night. I didn't watch it because I was watching Northern Ireland and I was watching Scotland because Martin said Scotland wouldn't qualify. So
He did. He was being a pundit,
well
wasn't he?
done. Well, yeah, well done, the jocks.
I've been a real pundit, wasn't I? Because I wasn't accurate. So
England.
sign me up.
But
Was Scotland's last tournament 98? World Cup 98? Was that the
yeah,
last?
98.
Lambert was in the team, wasn't he?
Was he Lambert in the team?
I think Lambert was in the team.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brazil, didn't they, opening day? Yeah.
I would say this: they shouldn't have qualified. David Marshall was about 8 yards off his line.
Yeah, but this is the thing, right? So he saved the penalty. He was what? Did you see how he waited and looked to the ref?
Yeah,
Because he knew. Because he knew.
When I see it, I thought he's off his line. So are they not? Is that rule gone out the window? Keepers coming off the line.
Apparently, he has to have 1 foot on the line.
didn't.
which wouldn't-
Well, I'd be fine, wouldn't I? Size 15 feet. I'd be well away, me. Because
You've got size 15 feet.
Yeah.
Yes. Everywhere he goes, there's people singing the Benny Hill theme song at him.
He's like, are you like the Kiora man, Martin? Do you remember Kiora? Where he walked like that, didn't he? With them big feet. It's Kiora.
I'm like Sideshow Bob.
Anyway, Grealish.
Mitrovic thought he just had to turn up and score, didn't he? With that?
Yeah, but Grealish nailed on. I don't think Southgate likes him.
Right.
No,
Matt, you ready?
I think the same.
Matt, are you ready?
Yes.
Spin the wheel of fortune. What are you going to get?
I don't like them green and yellow colours on there.
No, I didn't design it. Oh, lockdown tips. What are your 3 things you're doing this lockdown?
Well, don't watch the news is my advice,
Yeah.
because
Amen.
that's like a doom and gloom thing. So don't be watching the news. Just concentrate on things you like doing. That's my advice for lockdown. That was my advice for the first lockdown as well.
Watch Talking Town. Watch Talking Town.
Watch Talking Town. That's a good one.
Yeah. Or some of Luke Penning's really good recruitment
There's lots of
videos
good
on
content out there.
FM21. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Go play Football Manager.
Obviously from the main man there, not the other man.
Mike Brown says fishing.
Go fishing.
Just to jump back, Adam Flatt says North Macedonia qualified. That says what it needs to say about everything.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Do you remember that
Go
goal?
back.
Do you remember that goal he got, Rob, against Blackpool?
Blackpool.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. Is there a South Macedonian out there? How does that work?
No, I think they combined it.
What's to Macedonia? They should be just an entity.
Let's leave that. I don't know. I don't know is the answer. I'll tell you what though.
Is there a South Walsham?
That's true. True. I think not watching the news is a good one. My nan, bless her, Grandma Williams, she always watches the news, and I say to her, she goes to me, "What's the update?" I said, "What's been updated?" I don't know.
Watch things that are kind of wholesome, like will make you feel better. I like watching The Repair Shop. That's a good show.
Yeah. I'm more of a soap guy. I'm going to be honest. Guilty Secret, EastEnders, Corrie, Emmerdale.
Don't watch EastEnders. That's all people arguing and having around.
Oh,
Martin, you look like you were more of a sort of Hollyoaks Brookside kind of.
Yeah,
I like Brookside, but not Hollyoaks. That can get in the bin. That can get right in the bin.
Get in the bin. Love that.
EastEnders.
Does anyone watch Emmerdale? I've never watched a second of Emmerdale.
Used to watch it.
Yeah,
Not watched it. I haven't watched any soaps for ages.
No, me neither.
Too depressing. Especially with Christmas
Neighbours
coming.
and Home and Away was my go-to back in the day.
Still on, man. Still on.
Neighbours.
Something else that is really good is TikTok. Right? You go on TikTok and you think, what type of psychotic world is this? However, 4 hours later, you're still on this psychotic world, and it just gets madder and madder, and then you eventually do one, and that's it. It's like it's.
That used to be YouTube, didn't it? Didn't that used to be YouTube?
No, I think it's the same thing. I did hear it was getting banned. I'm not sure what the.
No,
I think
Donald Trump.
Yeah, Donald wants it gone, doesn't he? Wants it gone. Yeah.
Mate, I love lip syncing Gemma Collins. She's just made a TikTok, babes. I just gotta take a moment.
Martin's lip syncing.
Have you just admitted that in relative public? That is unbelievable.
Martin's lip syncing skills are very good. I've got to give him credit.
When you do the clips, Matt, when you're sorting out the clips, just get that one in about Gemma Collins, will you?
Yeah, I think if you listen really carefully, you can actually hear Sophie divorcing him in the background.
Yeah.
He
wants to be Essex like me, you see. That's the issue.
I was an hour late to bed last night because I was in the kitchen doing TikToks. I'm just going to throw that out there. I've got some in the bank, put it that way. 2 are Gemma Collins. But Callie, is Martin making TikToks to Nicki Minaj? I'll do that one. Another one you're on about. Right. Cruncher, it's your turn to spin my wheel of fortune.
Spin the wheel.
It's trademarked, so I will just quickly say that's not our name. Over to you.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. I like this, Curtis. Cheers for letting us have this.
Really good. Yeah, well done, Curtis.
Martin, I've got a bit of fact for you. Small fact for you.
We've had that.
Go on. Are you ready? South Macedonia is apparently part of Greece.
Wow.
That's come straight from my dad, so there's a good chance he probably knows more than most of us.
That's an easy one for you. What makes you happy? There you go.
Spending time with my missus, spending time with my kids, taking the dogs on a long walk.
PC answers.
Well, what more do you want me to say? doing stuff like this with you lovely people.
Yeah.
Now we know you're lying.
Portman Road, 3 p.m.
Well, yeah, but we haven't done that for a long while, and we ain't going to do it for a long while. Like Amy said, it's not going to be this year, is it?
My prediction is we'll probably be back there. I reckon we'll be back there April. They'll have fans in April, just for the end of the season, I bet.
Get that Lambert out. Get that Lambert out banner ready.
Why are they now only? I'm good at making banners. Just ask Rob. Why are they now only sort of asking for matchday stewards? Like, is that?
Isn't it?
Is that false hope? Is that sending a false signal? Like,
and where's the actual staff that they normally have as matchday stewards? Are they back? Is it?
40 quid for 4 hours, Mark.
Is it?
Is it?
Mm.
I've watched these stewards. They don't look at me. They look at the game the whole time. So, they're paying me to watch Ipswich. That sounds like a good one.
I wouldn't want to do that. You get too much grief when you.
Yeah, it's true. Luke, you gonna say something there? Sorry, mate.
Oh yeah, they're meant to have a debate next week. About
Yeah, I see that.
fans coming back, and
I heard that.
they had one last week, and they've got one coming up. But,
It was interesting in the game last night, Luke. There was fans at the Northern Ireland game. There was 1,000 there, and it's just you get 1,000 fans. You think it's only 1,000. They made a great atmosphere, and it was watching. It's like watching a different game.
Check this one out. Is it me? Is it? Am I right?
I love the fact that that person doesn't want to let anyone know their natural identity.
Yeah,
That is Paul Lambert. That is literally Paul Lambert.
I love you, Paul. I love you, big time.
I get what you mean though, because I watched the Northern Irish Cup final. I think it was back in July. I think they were one of the first areas that put in fan trials into their ground. And
They supporters in today.
I think they had 500 fans.
Did you see when they walked through that little tunnel? Did you see it on Twitter? They walked through this tunnel and they sort of spray them with a
Disinfectant.
Yeah,
That's all.
it's great.
I take my glasses off. I see what makes Luke and Martin happy. FM 21. Come on.
Well, it will do if we get a chance to play it.
Yeah.
Jeez, I mean, between the family,
How
the
much
kids.
is it? How much is it if we want to buy it? How much is it? Was it
I'm
download?
not. No, Luke. My wife might be watching this video. Do not say how much that game is. Do not
How
even.
much did you pay, Luke?
No, Luke. No, Luke, I'll mute you. My wife might be watching this video. She doesn't know how much it is. So shush.
It's got to be around 30 notes, surely. It's got to be around 29.99, I bet. Oof, is it?
I got it on one of them. So Football Manager has like
$27.99. Here it is.
Is it?
$27.99. I've got it on here.
Do you know what? I had my finger over Luke's button to ready to mute it, and instead of Luke saying
Don't
it,
worry about it.
you said it.
Don't worry about it. That's cheap. That's cheap. If you get FIFA 21's about 55 quid.
I only get £10 a month. I mean,
True.
cheap,
Why are they so
30 quid.
expensive? Why are they so expensive? I don't get it.
Because they're good.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a bit lumpy though, isn't it? 60 odd notes worth.
No, it's an interesting one because, especially for Football Manager, a lot of clubs actually use it as the recruitment tools. The recruitment tools actually built within the game are actually quite extensive.
Yeah.
A lot of people when they train to become scouts or recruitment analysts, as they're called, they do use the Football Manager, the inbuilt. That's what I use quite a lot anyway. So
There's a documentary of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer where he's using. No, he says he uses FM. His manager, I think, was in Norway. He uses FM as his recruitment tool, and it helps him. And all of this, yeah. And I think there was someone, might have been Sunderland, whose son was playing FM, and they recommended they signed their striker. So they, to the owner. I think it was the guy who was in charge last time from Oxford on the documentary.
Yeah, I know the guy you mean. He lasted, didn't he?
Which one? The owner? The owner or the striker?
Talking of players, what about that time? Do you remember Southampton, Matt, when they signed Christopher George Weah's cousin?
Graham had never seen, yeah.
He's got played big time there, didn't he?
Did he play about 10 minutes and then they subbed him back off, didn't they?
Terrible.
90s football at its best, right? No social media. So literally the guy just said, I'm George Weah's cousin.
Yeah.
It's like the guy on BBC News at the time, isn't it? Accidentally got into from the interview.
Yeah.
That's the same thing, isn't it? Brilliant.
it's also like that the old West Ham fan that got on the pitch, Harry Redknapp put him on the pitch because he kept berating Harry Redknapp. And then he put
it's in a friendly.
And he ended up
it's giving him grief, funny, he put him on.
Yeah.
That happened.
Was that Jonathan Ross and Graham Norton show when he was talking about that when years ago?
Like
that happened in Dream Team, of Harchester United. He turned out to be a really good striker, he did.
There's your soap you liked, Harchester.
Dream Team, that was a programme and a half, that was.
I didn't watch that either.
Footballers' Wives was the other side of it. Not the show, but something similar. Right, Luke, have you spun the wheel of fortune?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh, Luke, exciting times for you coming up. Right, here we go. What have you got? Probably the same as before. I probably took it out. Sorry. No, I haven't took it out. Oh, there you go. Other podcasts you listen to that are not football related because we don't give free advertising out to nobody.
Judging by you're listening to all kinds of Emmerdale podcasts and stuff, aren't you?
Yeah.
Does Gemma Collins
EastEnders.
do one? Does Gemma Collins do one? Because if she did, I'd probably listen to it.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
No, Gemma Collins.
The Cruncher is big on podcasts, but come on, Luke, tell us.
It is a football podcast, but they're called Tifo Football. They do a lot
they
about
YouTube channel.
yeah YouTube, and they also do podcasts as well, especially around like transfer windows. They do like these kind of like things where there's one I find really interesting actually, where they got a recruitment analyst from what was the team? Millwall, and I actually spoke to him about his role. I found it very interesting. They put a lot of videos up about that kind of thing. It's generally what I want.
They do a lot of YouTube stuff as well, don't they? And that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette getting a shout out. We like that, don't we, Martin? Jim Cornette.
Jim
We love
Cornette.
Jim. I listen to Fight Disciples, boxing MMA podcast. That's really good. Award winning. Really good show. It's got a little thing in with BT Sport as well. Very good.
Do they often say they're award winning?
All the time. And they're number one. And they're number one. But we're not allowed to say that, right?
That's what I was getting to. Crunch, you got one you listen to?
You dare.
Gorilla Position. Do you listen to that? You listen to that, any Matt?
You love that, don't you? Gorilla Position.
Yeah, have that on. I know Martin's given up on wrestling. What else?
Have you watched? I bet Sid's watched this. Have you watched the new Paul Bearer documentary?
Is it out yet?
Yeah.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I've seen some of the the outtakes from it because they said he was a really, really funny guy.
Yeah.
He was. He was a great
Cold.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to. I used to watch a lot of wrestling when I was younger, but I was struggling to get into it with the whole like crowd noise and how it all is. I watched WrestleMania and I couldn't get into it. It's like it's all right at some points, but
Did you see Martin's comment last night on the group, Matt?
No? What was this?
That he could take Johnny Gargano.
Oh, no, I did see that. Yeah. Madness. Absolute madness. Ain't gonna happen, is it? You'll get power bombed.
What did you call him? What did you call him? Vanilla midget?
A midget. Although Johnny, if you're watching, I meant it.
Something tells me he's not going to jump on a plane and come over here. That's not going to happen.
Look, Kevin Nash called him that originally, and he was right. All right.
Yeah.
So I've started listening to the Grilling JR podcast because that's like old school. That's like the 2000s when I was a big fan, like I was a kid, all those sorts of things. Rob,
Lots of good content out there.
are you a podcast listener? If you are, which ones do you listen to if you're in the office? Well, not anymore, but if you were in the office.
Well, in the home portable office, I just normally listen to a couple a week from 5 Live. To be honest, I'm proper mainstream, you know. It's just to be honest, I just partake a bit in what they do. I've spent like most of my life listening to their football coverage, and now I don't. So I just listen to their little football daily stuff, which is mostly about Champions League and Premier League. I don't think I've ever heard the word Ipswich mentioned apart from when Chris Sutton starts rambling on. So yeah, that's me really. Occasionally other podcasts, but only stuff that links to this that comes from your YouTube channel. You know, if you like we said, YouTube links to things, doesn't it? You can get lost.
The Cruncher loves the Darren McAntony podcast. That's his favourite.
That is my favourite. That is quality. That is really good because he takes no prisoners. He'll even throw the odd. Even you have been on it. I was going to be on it, but I had to referee, so you stepped in. He does throw the odd. He throws the odd C-bomb him as well.
Yeah.
It's quite yeah. He
You'd
does.
like him as the town owner, would you?
Yes.
Isn't he?
Yes.
What was that?
Yeah.
What did Curtis say there about Nile Ranger?
True Geordie with Nile Ranger, very interesting.
He's just
More
signed for a
criminal
non-league
convictions
team.
than
hasn't he?
goals than in his career.
He's signed for a non-league team.
Fine, can you check that?
or something like that.
I will have a look. Ben's the recruitment specialist. Did have a look for us.
Luke, is John Bostock? He's still not got a club.
No.
I saw that the other day.
He's only 28.
Who's the other one? Ravel Morrison. Never happened to him.
Yeah, he's a bit lively.
Waste of talent.
I went on England under-17s trip to Germany, and John Bostock was the captain. And you just thought everyone was like, big things are going to happen for him. He just fell off a cliff. It's unbelievable to me.
Wasn't
We
he?
should sign him.
Spurs from someone to Spurs, wasn't he?
He was
Was he
at
at
Palace,
Palace?
wasn't he?
Yeah,
He went to
Palace.
Spurs, and then he just like it was just weird. I mean, he's been playing in Europe. I think he's been playing in Turkey. He's played in France. I think he's played in Holland. Weird.
On Dara though, we say about him being owner. I spent an evening with him, obviously doing that podcast, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the guy is just a legend. I went into it without any real sort of expectation. I hadn't listened to his podcast beforehand. I hadn't really spent a lot of time listening to him or following him. But one evening, down to earth, straight, hard hitting, honest. And he's the sort of person like The Rock for wrestling, where he was charismatic, drew you in. He drew you in as the evening went on, and the more he spoke, the more you just started eating it up. And honestly, I mean, the way he talked about Barry Fry as well, you can't believe nobody's come in and got him off him, because this guy knows football inside and out.
What does he say about Peterborough? Because they're renowned for plucking players from nowhere, putting them in a league where they score goals for fun and sell them on for money. It's a business model, but they never get promoted.
No, he knows. I get the feeling he knows what Peterborough are, and he knows the limitations, and he's trying his hardest to break through that glass ceiling.
When they get a new ground, Martin, I think that will help them, because obviously he wants to be I think he said a top 10 championship team. So with the new stadium,
they'll go up this season. I think they'll be one of the three.
Maybe.
No, Rangers signed
you can say that every
United.
year.
Yeah, Spalding.
Come down from St James's Park. Spalding United, no Rangers.
He just got lost on the A1 on the way down. Mark and More Services, a couple of games for them, and all of a sudden he's there.
The services.
Last question as we close, because it's been a really good evening. I've really enjoyed it. Next 11 games. I'm going to give you who we're playing in the next 11, and I want you to tell me what your expected grade, the same way we would do at school, what your expected grade is for the next quarter of the season. And then hopefully in January, we'll all sit down again, all of us, and hopefully the guys at home will join us, and we can all review what we said, were we accurate, were we not accurate. So if I give you the fixtures now, and then you can formulate very quickly in your mind, and we'll start with Luke, then Cruncher, then Matt, then we'll finish with me and Rob. So the next 11, Shrewsbury at home, Hull home, Charlton at home, Oxford away, Plymouth away, Portsmouth at home, Burton at home, Peterborough away, Northampton at home, AFC Wimbledon at home. Away, sorry. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more, and we've got Fleetwood away. That's your 11. Luke?
It's a hard one, really, because you look at that. You look at teams like Plymouth. Plymouth come up this last season and this season, and they're doing really well. I think I picked them out as one of my dark horses this season. They signed a player from Crawley last season called Pantuche Kamara. It's a player I recommend that you keep a look on. But yeah, for me, I'd probably put with that team maybe C minus, or no, just average C. I think the teams coming up, that we've got to play. Teams like Portsmouth, Plymouth, Peterborough. Last season we got that 2-2, got last gasp draw. Obviously at home got absolutely obliterated. It's a lot of teams last season that some of them. There's the Wimbledons, there's Burton's, teams that we actually won against last season. But other than that, there's teams that we tended to struggle against. So it should be interesting to see how it comes up. But yeah, we do really need to start, getting these statement wins, as we like to call them.
I've done a quick calculation here. I was going through as he was saying out. So 11 games, I've gone 23 points.
Have you?
Yeah, 23 points.
So
that would give us 45 points from 22.
Wow.
That's got to be an A plus, isn't it?
So if we had 45 from 22, we would probably be in the top 3, wouldn't we?
Who do you think will beat them? Who did you say? Like Peterborough?
Peterborough defeat. I think Peterborough defeat. I think I said Portsmouth a draw. I think we'll beat Hull. I think we'll lose to Charlton, and I can't really see us losing any other games. Other than that, there's teams in there: Oxford away, draw; Plymouth away, win.
It's Frank Noble. Frank Noble's going to pop up for them.
New Blade.
Sorry, yeah.
And then you got round Christmas. What was it, Martin? Northampton, Wimbledon, Fleetwood. Yeah, that's a pretty kind run, I would say.
Fleetwood, I think, are a bit of an interesting side. I saw them.
Well, Graham Mack, they were his dark horses. Start of the season. So 23, I would say that we will be in the top 3. So, all right.
Matt,
I'm not nowhere near as optimistic as that. I've got 14 points out of that. The end is nigh for Lambert. I keep saying this. I'm going to stick
14
by it.
points. 14 points from
It's
11 games.
I've got
Give him the
14 points.
bell. Put a sandwich board over him, will ya? The end is nigh. Tin foil hat.
Yeah, 3 wins. I've got 3 wins there. I've got 5 draws and 3 defeats.
Wow.
Jesus.
This is what I'm telling you.
I bet you're
The
fun at
end is
parties,
nigh
isn't
for
you?
Lambert. History's going to be repeated. 14 points. And you'll all watch this back and go, Matt Phillips was right.
No, we won't.
So when we reach the 1st of January, you're expecting another 5-year deal, 10-year deal.
Yeah, it'll be a 5-year deal with place.
Give it Gigsty. Give it
Off the back of
Gigsty.
those 14 points, yeah. We'll find somebody can concede 5 goals and give them a deal for every year. A deal for every goal.
So what am I giving
was
that? I'm giving that a D. I've given that a D there.
All
D
right.
for me.
I'm actually going to go a bit more towards Rich's thing. I'm going to go a bit more confident. I'm going to go 20. But I think we'll really see where we are. If we underperform in the way Matt said, Lambert is going to be on the rocks. But this is the time where it really counts. And let's be honest, I mean, it would be nice to see Ipswich stand up and be counted in a period where it counts. And we'll see really what we're made of during that time, because we can't just lose to all the good teams. Otherwise, Matt's right. I'm going to go that we'll beat one of the good teams. Like Rich said, I'm not sure it'll be Hull. I think we'll beat one. I think it's more likely to be Charlton myself. I just think they're probably punching a little bit above what they expected right now. So I'm going to go 20 and I'll give it a B.
Okay. All right. I won't tell you what I'm going to say because.
Oh, God's sake. You know, Mr. sitting on the fence constantly, isn't he?
27 points, A+.
27.
Get out of town.
100 goals. 100
Come
goals.
on.
Oh, what did
Ludicrous.
I say?
What do you think, really? What do you think, really?
That is what I thought,
You're
really.
agreeing with me, aren't you? You've gone 14 points.
Am I
No, but
hell?
in all seriousness, Martin, what are you basing on? Are you basing it on Norwood
All
being
right.
fit, scoring goals, Jackson being fit, scoring goals,
Let's look at
Downs
this.
being fit in the team?
Let's look at this, right? Next 3 home games, 9 points. Boom. Let's have it, right? Win your home games.
What are
Win
you
your...
basing that on? Did you
when-
not see how we started against Portsmouth?
Then we've got December, Oxford. They're struggling. That's 3 points. I've taken what Luton on board, but still beating Plymouth, 3 points. Portsmouth a point because Portsmouth are always going to do well against us, and Rob's better half supports Portsmouth, so you can guarantee we'll get
Or
nothing.
even Plymouth, even Peterborough.
Sorry,
So
Peter.
teasing.
Northampton we're going to beat. Wimbledon we're going to beat. Fleetwood will drop. I don't know. 27, 28. I don't know. Who knows? It's 27 points. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think we'll beat Charlton personally. I don't think we'll beat Charlton.
I'm wearing my blue, my blue tinted
Tinted
glasses
specs.
You
because
don't too much of that side is what you bloody done.
well, it's just look. I'm looking at it right. Next 3 games are home games. You've got to win those home games against better teams at some point. You've got to.
Adam called it. Martin's been drinking the Kool-Aid.
I have. But look, the odds are at some point, regardless of how good or bad you are as a club, at some point you've got to beat big teams at home.
Yeah.
At some point. At
Like to
some
think.
point. Even if you get lucky, it's a 1-0 and it hits Norwood's butt cheek. You still at some point got to win. So I'm thinking next 3 league games, I want to see 9. After that, it's a December. It's fitness. It's attrition. It's who's fit, who's not, who's in form. It's Christmas period. It's the famous England Christmas period where it's all over the place and it's Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, and it's who knows. But I want to see.
I think
25
we
points.
should be in the strongest position. We should be in the strongest position of this season in this next run.
No,
Because
no,
Jackson will be
no,
fit,
we're going
Norwood
to
will be fit,
think about.
Downs should be back at some point.
Got
Vincent
no
Young.
cup games.
No, we haven't. He made sure of that, didn't he?
Dobra
Crawley,
will still
don't
not be in the
start me.
squad, but at least he's fit.
Yeah. Lambert sacked after Charlton. Adam Flack claims.
Like that. You down with that?
You're down with that. I've got a couple of any other business, Martin.
Go for it.
So
AOB.
Andrew
Too good,
Murphy.
too bad.
Yes, Andrew, yes.
Andrew, yeah, top guy.
He is doing I'll read the tweet. Any ITFC fans struggling with Christmas presents for kids this year? He's bringing back his Christmas giveaway, so you can enter that by retweeting it. But a lot of people have already donated. Scott Loach has donated a shirt from his time at Town. Other people have donated shirts. I think he's got over, £200 he's been donated. So we're doing the draw live on the 29th of November on Talking Town. Scott Loach is going to come on and do that. And also, congratulations to Lewis Robertson. Callie Page was born on Monday, so
Hey!
and he's
Done.
already been teaching songs to us. So there you go.
Brilliant.
That
Wonderful.
reminds me, I saw a TikTok the other day from a certain person on this board that was singing a song. He started off a bit ropey.
Was it me?
It was you.
That was my first ever one that I've done. I'm just progressing. What about the one with Matt dancing?
Wait,
Yeah, we've not done that yet.
Where
What
is
have I got to do? You want me jumping in the air or something, wouldn't it?
No, I want you jumping in a diagonal. So duh.
All right.
When
I'll see if
I
I can
put
do that
it
for
all
you tomorrow.
together, it will make sense. Callie, who's
All
a
right.
TikTok user, will know why that makes sense.
All right. I'll see if I can do that for you tomorrow.
Time's ticking. Do it tonight. What's wrong with tonight? Right, we're done. We're dusted.
On TikTok, you should know.
There is a Talking
Right, can
Town
we just say,
Sunday.
just quickly,
Go on.
go on. If you look in the comments, there's one with the win, draw, loss. There, you can highlight that. Callie, I'm pretty sure I've been to that village in Wales.
Why do we invite you on these things? What on earth was that?
Kelly's got my 14 points there, though.
Love it. Right, Talking Town this Sunday.
We are
Cruncher, tell us what it is.
Talking Town Women's Special with the gaffer Joe Sheehan. We have got the set piece queen, Paige Peake. Did you see them free kicks, Matt?
Oh,
Yeah.
Like
Very
David
good.
Beckham.
Yeah,
Whipping
very
them
good.
in. And
Pinch me upstairs a bit.
wing. Yeah, we could talk to her about that on Sunday.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
down
yeah.
the training ground. And the wing wizard, Sophie Peskett, is on. So
Yeah.
1:30
Brilliant.
on the usual channels.
Top of the
Yep.
table, the girls.
Top of the table, but no games. I think they're doing I think they were doing Zoom training tonight, Matt.
Right.
Yeah, I think you've got to do a bit of training by Zoom.
I think
Tune
that's
in. It's going to be a good show.
Yeah,
We'll have
it
another
will
good
be.
show.
It will be. It really will. So, for Love with Care, see you Sunday 1:30.